Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. As today, we were going to head back to town, but we're still in pretty decent shape, and although our wagon is currently fully laden, in reviewing our current stash, there are a number of slots that could be freed up pretty easily. We've got food that's ready to expire, we've got a lot of Tier 1 and even Tier 0 barbarian goods, things that are worth a few coins, but could certainly be swapped out in favor of more valuable finds. So rather than heading back, let's go ahead and push our luck a little bit further. We'll carve another layer out of this fog of war here, and then just, play it by ear from there, based on whatever condition we're in after. No guarantee we'll find anything worth our time, but as long as we walk away with at least one famed item or new potion, I think we'll call it a win. Of course, we've also got that gaggle of abominable unholds out here. We'll have to be wary of those. We could probably take them, it's just... yeah, they're there. Not really worth the collateral damage, Ooh, this, though. Nice little warm-up. Easy XP for the rookies. Oh. You know what? Scratch that. We'll leave the thralls to the unhold and set our sights on bigger game. Reavers, that's slightly less dangerous than nomad outlaws. Light to medium armor, often come to fights without helmets on. Not ideal for the daggers, but definitely ideal for flails. Minimal range support, but they do often pack throwing weapons. Dangerous for fragile backliners, but I think we're good. I am tempted to tag Valin, but the gunners do need XP. Nah, this is fine. Alright, Raiders, let's do this. Drawn by sounds of distress, the Raiders chortle as they peer over a rise, spying a group of shaggy, abominable unhold, chasing a hapless group of barbarian thralls. Beyond, however, another barbarian base camp. An ideal target of opportunity. The Raiders leave the unfortunate thralls to their fate, their own sights set on bigger game. A hurled axe, the first warrior to rush their lines, is gutted for his trouble. A second buries in his face, poleaxing him to the ground. The rest of the warriors bubble forth from their makeshift camp. The twang of crossbow sounds. The warriors flinching, but otherwise undeterred by the fiercely fired projectiles. Rook hangs back, setting his pike. The gleam of heavy bronze throwing weapons catches the midday sun. And Rook nods. The Raiders quickly pushing up. Eyes on the prize, as it were. Though their initial tentative swings aren't met with much success. Not after Valin's swift turn 1 takedown. A few blows landed here and there, but nothing particularly telling. Shame we can't lock down those harpoons. I would like to get my hands on some of those, though they're not they're not the most optimal use of our limited cart space. Heavy hatchets are hurled, clanging off the raiders' shields, falling short of their back line. The Reavers begin to circle, trying to find their way past that initial wall of defense. And Arrow takes aim. His shots lob over the Raiders' line, catching an approaching Reaver with a skull-topped mace. Bear paws give bear paws to Random, a swing grazing his head. Drakiith hacks into a barbarian thrall, blade briefly wedged in severed meat and sheared bone. A shot from Mark, a target glanced. Crossbow recocked as he casually steps up. Whew, boy, Raiders on the north are not having much luck. RNG is really kind of being a mite bit harsh. Rook drives his pike into a flanker's side. There we go. And he smashes a barbarian mauler in the face, nose and teeth splintering neath the fury of frenzied flails. Verlin catches a thrall on the south, spear clipping his shield, plunging into his throat. A twist of the wrist and the simple puncture becomes a gaping wound. The thrall falls, choking on his own blood. And the battle rages on. Arrow moving to support the south. A vicious kick drives Drakiith away from the thrall he just maimed. Cleaver dislodged in the process. Ooh, goodness. A heavy swing catches Revenant in the face. He stoically accepts the impact, blood soaking the front of his otherwise featureless mask. Really gotta shut down those throwers. A pair of tentative thrusts from Diego, the second piercing a pummeler's arm. All the time Rev needs. Though still staggered by the massive impact to his face, he drives the singular tine of his pike between his would-be foe's ribs, piercing his heart. A shot from Alois catches a fleeing barbarian in the back. The bloodied brute pitching face first to the sodden snow. Cetra sweeps a spearman's leg out from under him, running him through before he can rise. Verlin surges forward with his shield, locking down a thrower. Random, finally back in action, peevishly fells his own foe, then locks down another. And he eyes the last axe-wielding enemy, trying to find an ideal approach, but none seems obvious. The wounded spearman rushes forward, catching an arrow for his trouble, before Bowman casually turns and puts a second shot through another spearman's hand. Rook rakes his pike across a Reaver's face, an eyeball jellied. Tommy drops the second wounded spearman. The fight, though decidedly tilted in their favor, slowly begins to take its toll on the raiders. Armor tattered, lungs burning with exertion, lips flecked with frost and blood. And he breaks a foe on the north. Random one on the south, though his is perhaps a bit more literal. The one on the north still yet stands, though. Given the literal blood in Revenant's eyes, that may soon change. Two swarthy savages still yet stand staunchly on the south, but one remains fighting on the north. Blows are exchanged, blood taken and surrendered in equal measure. And sure enough, the fleeing foe on the north falls, pinned, writhing neath Revenant's pike. And the rest of the raiders rally round the reaver that yet remains. Random fells the second to last on the south. A savage series of strikes, softening the last, breaking his spirit. A toss from Tommy pins his arm to the earth. But the second goes wide. Drak rushes in. A sweep of his cleaver, another foe felled. And the raiders push north. The final barbarian glances around frantically. Heavy cleaver listing in his hands, arm too weary to properly bear its weight. A single potential avenue of escape yet remains. But before he can take it, a savage swing of Annie's flail, the sickening pop of a knee, forced out of joint. And just like that, another fight is won. Steel Brow would help with those random headshots. We're just already stretched so thin on perks. And look at that, a second famed item obtained. Shatterproof Great Shield. Granted, not the most impressive famed item we could have potentially found, but still halfway decent for what it is. Yeah, that's a decided step up from your standard round wooden or heater, I think. Yeah, that's not bad at all. We'll probably toss that to Diego. And then, as for the rest of this stuff, mostly just trade fodder, obviously, but we did pull a singular bundle of heavy throwing axes. I was really hoping for more, but we'll take it. As well as, obviously, that stack of 600 gold. And a few other choice items, I think. One sec, let me rummage through real quick. And on we go. Well done, Raiders. I think we're pretty full up at this point, so let's knock out these level ups real quick, then we'll head back. Hey, look at that. Solid rolls from Cetrus. Just one advance shy, coming in ahead of the curve on that 20 target for defense. And obviously we'll take the melee as well. And resolve, I suppose. Might lose the shield as soon as he hits level 7. Go for one of those two-fisted scimitars we're currently toting around. We'll go ahead and sit on that perk point. I want to see exactly where he lands at 7 before we commit. But I am feeling pretty good about that one. And then Verlin. Honestly, only one level behind on that 20-point curve. Flubbed the melee, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and bump fatigue and initiative instead. Well, actually, you know what? Scratch that. We'll bump fatigue and resolve. Resolve is slightly more important for a proper shieldman. And then as a shieldman, I guess that really kind of narrows down exactly what he's going to be getting for his last few perks. With Underdog, I think, being the next we need to bank. That'll really help when he's holding out against superior numbers, as he so often is. And honestly, yeah, as aforementioned, Diego will probably emulate his build. Diego's never going to have a really solid melee skill, but I think he has shown that he's a pretty decent blocker. So we will go ahead and toss him this Shatterproof Great Shield. That'll be a nice fatigue neutral move, while also making it easier for him to use the various basic shield skills, since it reduces fatigue costs. No risk of losing it either, since we've got our Eerie Blacksmith. Pretty much the only way to make those famed shields viable for any long-term use. And Alois. We'll take the 5 in range, we'll take the 4 in resolve, the 3 in range defense, and then stack on top of that an additional 4 in range, another 4 in resolve, and then I guess that 5 in initiative. That'll be important for once we actually do finally pick up our handguns. And that's it for level ups. Pull the wounded, swap in fresh. Make sure we've got decent defenses on our corners. Alright, let's head back to town. Also, swap in these heavy axes. Really hoped we'd pull more of those heavy bronze throwers, but that's just the nature of the RNG, you know? At least we got one. We'll leave those hapless fellows to their fate. I see no reason to get involved. Yeah, see, we're starting to run a bit low on supplies, too. So we definitely do want to get back to civilization. If just to restock, if nothing else. Oh, yes, please. We're past due to unlock those noble house contracts. Actually, maybe we already have. What are we currently sitting at? Almost 24. What do we need? Oh, wow, yes, we are very overdue. We are more than double the renown required. Fair enough. Let's just give it a moment. And there we go. Thinking to set tongues wagging with the name the RetconRaiders, and thereby increase your prospects with the nobility. You pushed your men to great deeds, outstanding bravery, and plentiful bloodshed. After several contracts and more than a few skirmishes, you worked hard enough and long enough to have some of the lords take notice of the company's competence. These are the gentlefolk who rule the land by virtue of some long-dead ancestor subjugating a group of unarmed peasants. As Revenant puts it, now these pampered inbred fops are well impressed enough with you to grind the company in one of their feuds. If you wash your face and ask politely, they should favor you with a profitable contract now and again. You can congratulate yourself. Yeah, sure sounds like it. Thanks. Ignoble or not, progress is progress. Ooh, hello there. That could be just about anything. Bandits, undead, greenskins. No luck on scouting. Dare we go in blind? You know what? Why not? As ever, gotta keep pushing that envelope. Let's, we'll at least poke our heads in, get a gander at what we're up against. We can always withdraw if need be. Ah, undead. Not what I was hoping for, but let's get a closer look. As the raiders return to more civilized climes, curiosity gets the better of them. An old fort left abandoned amidst overgrown brush. Zarmal and Arrow move ahead of the rest, spying on a group of undead aimlessly ambling about. Noxer are lurking nearby, eager to claim any literal dead fallen limbs. No sign of a necromancer, but as the undead mill about, Rook gestures towards one near the rear. A heavily armored figure. An undead hedge knight, it would seem. A particularly promising specimen. And the raiders ready their weapons, as Rook and Verlin eagerly anticipate another new prize. Nice, so definitely no necromancer, otherwise we would have already seen spells popping off. Honestly, while it would be nice if we had come in with more cleavers, this does look eminently manageable. The main wild card potentially being if there's more fallen heroes towards the back. The one we're seeing isn't too bad. Heavily armored, but not particularly fiercely armed. The Noxer are kind of a non-issue. If anything, they make things easier for us. They might eat the fallen before we have to worry about them rising again. Though aimless at first sight, all it takes is one arrow to bait the ambling undead out of their restless repose. They stumble and groan, pushing awkwardly past the clustered, half-crumbled terrain, their approach hampered by any number of impediments. The raiders see no reason to go in after them, simply holding their ground, waiting for the first to breach the perimeter. Though a few errant shots are popped off where opportunity presents. Verlin readies his spear, anticipating first contact. Fallen hero coming in on north, which actually works out pretty well in our favor. And the raiders push back the undead tide. Axe is embedding. Drakiith sweeping the head off the first to reach the line. Rook jukes in. A snap of his pike, severing a spinal cord. McLeod and Setris hold the center. Simple enough given the advantageous terrain. Another foe falls as Setris heads them off amidst the tombstones. The beheadstones. But of course the rest of the horde is undaunted. Even as arrows continue to rain down amongst their massed number. I've really got to figure out a better way to use that dagger. I mean, I know how it works in theory, I just cannot, for the life of me, find like a natural way to set up the proper combo. An axe from Valin, another foe falls. Tommy emulates on the south. His own opponent still teetering forward. McLeod flenses one on the south, setting it up for Drakiith. And Verlin steps up to a more advantageous position. Spear once again set, eyes locked on the encroaching undead. It begins! A few clumsy blows slip past the raider's guard, though none as of yet pierce flesh. The north does swiftly find itself enveloped, the fallen hero wrapping wide. Rook cuts one down on the south, then sets his sights towards reinforcing the north. Seeing the inevitable, Rassel takes a quick swing, then a hasty step back. And the first of the fallen rises once more. Though others yet remain toppled, Noxera greedily rushing forward, claws grasping at the fetid remains. Zarmal cuts one down on the north, curved dagger carving fetid flesh from bone. Axes thud dully into yet more beyond. Arrows continue to rain on the undead parade. Drakiith and McLeod make short work of the first Noxera. The twang of a crossbow. Another corpse falls. And he steps back, seeking to head off the armor-clad cadaver. Setris fills the gap, though that does leave us open on center. Yeah. Saw that coming, but that's easy enough to handle. The important thing was to avoid being completely overrun on the north. Muscles stiff and sore. Verlin holds a minute, catching his second wind. And Rassel finds himself menaced. Less than ideal, but not insurmountable. Rook continues pushing forth, reinforcing the line. We need to isolate the fallen hero. A grunt and a toss, an awkward bundle lobbed over Annie's head. Web-necked reinforced threads, settling about the plate-clad corpse's form. A hurled stone cracking a Noxerer's elbow out of joint. Bowman puts an arrow through a second one's face, then moves to reinforce Rassel. Drak and McLeod dismember another undead. Valin, a ghoul. Rassel smashes the rusty Revenant about the head. Stepping back, buying himself some breathing room. And Mark once again clears the center line. But yet more bodies rush forward to fill the gaps. Clumsily clutched weapons flailing wildly. Errant blows, usually simple to deflect, but fatigue has begun to take its toll. And as yet more foes once again rise, the Raiders do find themselves somewhat pressed. Rook runs one through. Arrow lays down yet more fire. And he stays focused on the weaker of her two potential targets. McLeod clears one on center. Cetrus the second. Verlin spits one on the south. Then moves up to engage. Their numbers thin sufficiently that his defensive stance is no longer necessary. The Noxerer flee. Rook running one through before it can get clear. And Zarmal takes a defensive stance, buying some time as the rest of the Raiders trim the edges. and finish securing the south. Armored shell in tatters. The raiders begin to focus down. The fell knight on their flank. Fortunately, the brutish figure is too dim to even think to remove the weighted net that so hampers its movements. Another dashing blow from Rassel keeps it stunned. A swing of Vanny's flail drops its fellow. A gesture from Verlin and the rest of the raiders rally north. The spearman confident he has things handled. Though Tommy does linger behind. Rook runs yet another one through, dashing it against the adjacent obelisk until it ceases to squirm. A final shot. The fallen hero felled once more. The rest of the raiders wrap around, Zarmal on the brink of exhaustion. The company coming to his aid. McClash moves in from the rear. Warrior is unleashed. You know, that's what I should do. I should swing by a kennel and at least grab extra doggos for the rest of our shield men. Zarmal puts the last down on the south, but another springs up, eagerly in its place. Still, the fight is all but won. Only that single solitary sepulturite remains, awkwardly shielded though it is by an interposing obelisk. Still, at this point, the raiders don't really anticipate much trouble. At this point, it's just a matter of time. And sure enough, even with the untimely return of the unnatural knight-errant, the fight is well and truly won. Poor Rassel denied the final kill by Warrior's over-eager scramble. And thus it goes to Drac instead. Well fought, Raiders. Now let's get a gander at our prize. Sadly, no famed items this time out. But we did pick up a new Elixir of Perseverance. This serum, developed from a substance found within certain extraordinary specimens of Wiederganger, allows a living man to gain some of the indefatigable perseverance of the loathsome undead warriors, with no loss of life. Some minor joint stiffness is to be expected. No fatigue loss when enduring attacks. Nice, nice. Yeah, that'll definitely go to one of the shieldmen. Not sure which one just yet, but I think ultimately we will give 2 potions to each dedicated blocker. So 1 more for Verlin, 2 for Diego. And then we should really probably pick a 3rd for when one of the other 2 is otherwise indisposed. I'll give that some thought. And on we go. Let's go ahead and knock out these level ups. Sarmal is up to 5. And as an aspiring Dagger Master, we will, of course, go ahead and bank Dagger Mastery. Though again, I really need to get better use out of this Catal. I'm just... Maybe always keep someone like Rassel or one of the throwers rocking a sling at his back. You know, provide that stun or daze support so he can get in the occasional death blow. Cetrus. Still sitting on that perk point. For now, we just tuck him into reserve. And McLeod, also sitting on his perk point, though. Yeah, I've got a few things to mull on here. Let's push the rest of the way to Damwald, then I think we'll be at a good place to call it. We are past day 50 at this point. As fruitful as our brief sojourn was, we need to set our sights on some slightly more focused growth as we push towards that first looming crisis. Just tagging a few of the more valuable items for repair to fetch better prices once we're ready to sell. Which probably will not be in Damwald. That'll probably be Oberberg a bit further over east. The forts do tend to offer better prices. But hey, look at that. We've got our first noble contract in offing. Plus a couple of local 2 skulls. At least one of which is yet another terror contract. So yeah, we're definitely not doing trading while we're here. At least nothing of particular note. Possibly a few spare shields or something just to free up a little space. Alright, well, we'll hit the pause button for now. I'll do what I can. And we will pick up here next time as we scope out that first noble contract. We're past the halfway point, folks, but we've still got a ways to go. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.